Ladies and or Lupa flavored men, welcome or welcome back to the channel. My name is Zeno, and I realized a couple of days ago, as if with all of the second characters in the second cycle of a patch, their information is in the Crossing Stars, so we can now officially have a look at Lupa's full kit. We can make some speculations, we can go over some first thoughts that I have about her kit, what I think it's going to be good for, where I think she's going to shine. And I've just been playing with Heya way too much the last couple of days. I've kind of neglected making videos, so I do apologize. I have now officially finished the 2.4 part 1 Septimont story, so I will do a bit of a mini review and just an overview as well of Septimont as a whole, at the whole like new city, the new region, the new maps. So that'll be in a couple of days from now, but yeah, I want to talk about Lupa and her kit. Yeah, sorry, I've been way too obsessed with Heya. I've been putting a lot of pictures out on Twitter and stuff as well. I am obsessed with this character. But let's take a look at Lupa herself. I'm going to go for Lupa because I want to buff my Chun-Li in any way possible, because I never ended up getting Brant on his initial run and his rerun, because his rerun was during anniversary. Just too many banners, too many characters that I wanted. And his OG run, I hadn't spent any money on the game at the time a few months back, and I didn't have enough to guarantee him, so I didn't try and get him. So my Chun-Li now is kind of sitting in an awkward position as like a second favorite character, where she's got no real good teams. And I know that Lupa is going to be kind of more for Brant as well as Chun-Li and future fusion characters, but I still want to get her just because I love her character, I love her design. She's got a fun play style, and she looks very flashy, lots of mid-air attacks, and I think she's fantastic. I really, really like Lupa. So let's take a quick, just preliminary look at her kit. I will say the very first time I opened up this tab, and I had a look, it was on the outline mode, which you can see up the top there. And I was like, oh, this is a very basic kit. Basic attack, fusion damage, heavy attack, fusion damage. And I was like, oh, this is very simple. Wow, look at that. That's crazy. It's not too complicated at all. Then I click the outline button, and it's just like, sweet Mother Teresa bent over the hood of a Mercedes-Benz. What the hell is this, Kuro? Please. Look at this. This is a fucking normal attack. Like, okay, a lot of her attacks in her kit resolve around like a normal attack, a charge attack, building up like her little cost, and she does like special animations or something. But I'm just like, oh my goodness, like this is, bro. I thank God they have an outline button, but like it just doesn't need to be this overly complicated. This reminds me of every kit in the goddamn game now. They're a lot simpler in practice. And I bet you that's the same with Heya's kit. Heya's kit looks absurdly complicated, and the only complicated part of Heya's kit is when she's transformed into Fleur-de-Lis. There's a couple of different combos you can do, but outside of that, you can just mash buttons. You'll still get to the liberation. It doesn't matter. There's optimal ways to get there, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, no, her thing's nuts. So the first thing you do when you look at a brand new character is you go to the outro skill. I think outro skills kind of determine what a character is going to do. So Lupa's outro skill buffs fusion damage by 20% and basic attack damage by 25% for 14 seconds until the resonator is switched out. So this follows the patterns of most of the characters in the 2.0 cast that we've seen so far. A lot of their outros have been very specific for more niches now, which is what we're getting into with this game. I know a lot of people are having issues with the whole elemental system. The debuff system that's been introduced but doesn't really do anything. It's kind of there just to lock out some other characters and supports from working together as duos and stuff like that, and different team comps aren't quite as varied now as maybe they would have in 1.0, but I wasn't around for the 1.0. I only started in 2.0. So to me, this is okay because I'm used to this in every other game. It doesn't make it great, but I'm seeing this is the norm now with characters that focus on debuffs and then needing someone to apply debuffs. Zani, Phoebe, Chikona, Heya. This is another thing where like a lot of the elemental buffers seem to be focusing on also a secondary buff, like Lupa here is basic attack damage, and I think Brant was like, what is Brant? If we go to Brant really quick, Brant was, let's have a quick look. Brant was resonant skill damage. So basically the way this is going to be is Lupa outros into Brant, buffs fusion damage and skill damage. Sorry, basic attack damage, because Brant focuses on lots of his basic attacks. and then Brant outros into Chun-Li because he buffs skill damage, and Chun-Li does lots of skill damage. And then Chun-Li, or baby girl, is all the way down here. And then Chun-Li outros to Lupa because she does resonance liberation damage. And a lot of, or all of probably, Lupa's kit is based on liberation damage. So this is going to form the official first limited 5-star mono element team, which is now going to be Fusion, which I think's awesome. I'm not going to have Brant, so I can't test that out. And I'm not going to get Brant at this stage anyway. I'm too far into my account and my Woowa journey. So unfortunately, I'm not going to get Brant as much as I really liked him and I defended him when I started my YouTube and everything, and I made some videos about him. And yeah, I really like the character, but I was only going to get him for Chun-Li, and then I missed out getting him. But now I kind of want to get this character. While she does buff basic attack damage on her outro, she won't be the best synergy for Chun-Li, but as someone who likes to on-field main my Chun-Li anyway, because I'm not particularly great at quick swapping and dual DPSing, I'm just not. I'm too casual for that. This is still going to buff her basic attacks, kinda, a little bit. But Lupa also doesn't have just this in her kit. She has several other buffs as well that boost fusion damage and fusion res shred, I think it is as well. But yeah, outro skill. This is gonna. This is the supposedly best in slot would be Lupa, Brant, and Chun-Li. Encore is going to be another fantastic candidate actually, and someone who now has an S2 Encore. I look forward to potentially building up Encore one day. I really do want to do that. I don't have the time and the resource. Or it's more about I don't have the resources. I've been struggling trying to build Carta Heya right now. Mine completely sucks. I've gone through like 40 crit rate 4 costs, and not a single one of them had a double crit stat. It's ridiculous. All my luck went to my summons. Speaking of summons, Carta Heya might be S4. Don't worry about it, I'm a professional. But I am looking forward to potentially building up Encore, because Encore focuses on basic attacks, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe I could do a Encore Lupa Chun-Li mono fusion, which could be really interesting. But that's her outro. I just wanted to mention that up front, that this is the type of character she's going to be. She's going to be a fusion buffer and primarily a basic attack damage buffer for fusion as well. And the reason I also just say mono fusion, I think, where is it? I got to look at it. It's the reason I say mono fusion specifically, and you're going to be able to play her in outside of mono fusion, which is what I'm going to do. But it's because of this here. One of her inherent skills, the second one. When she casts Resonance Liberation, her Fire Cliff's Glory, whatever, she grants Glory. So she grants a buff for 35 seconds. 35 seconds is a lot, by the way. Like, that's like a full rotation cycle. That's very, very good. So it attacks all Resonators in the team, or attacks of all Resonators in the team ignore 3% of the target's fusion res. Now, that doesn't sound like the biggest damage buff, but it's still nice to have. The thing with this is, for each fusion Resonator in the team other than Lupa, the effect increases by 3% up to a maximum of 9%. So, okay, all of a sudden, the more fusion units in your team, the more damage that the bigger the buff that Lupa's going to be. And when you have 3 fusion Resonators, it increases by a further 6%. So it goes 3%, 6%, and then essentially it jumps to 15% because you go from 9% plus the 6 to 15. So it kind of incentivizes you like, hey, you really want to play this in a mono fusion team? Of course, you don't have to. I'm not going to, not for at least a very long time. I'm just going to play her with try her out with Shorekeeper and Verena, just your basic support. But it kind of makes it so it's like, hey, if you have 3 fusion characters, the buff is going to be even bigger. So another reason why the mono fusion team is going to be, I think the mono fusion team, I mean, we'll see obviously when the character comes out and all the numbers and the teams and everything get tested properly. I'm going to think that the mono fusion team, when played correctly, because I think it's going to be a very high ceiling skill player, like this is going to be a very difficult team to play, especially with Chun-Li quick swapping, Brant and Lupa quick swapping, or whatever it is, all trying to make sure all the outros line up correctly, the liberations line up correctly, because like Chun-Li is mostly for a quick swap. Like, I think it's going to be a very difficult team to play, but I think for the people that pull it off, this might be the strongest team in the game, because you've essentially got 3 very strong sub DPS characters all just launching liberations and skills and enhanced attacks, and just like, and Brant's got the shielding and Brant's got the healing in his kit. And a lot of these characters also function in mid-air. A lot of Lupa's kit is mid, like even right here, after basic attack 3, press the normal attack in the right time to cast mid-air stage 1. She has a lot of mid-air attacks. Brant is in the mid-air most of the time, and Chun-Li she intros into the mid-air, and then she can get off some of her forte stuff, so, and skills. So a lot of this team is going to be in mid-air, which means you're probably going to be taking slightly less damage than like a normal everyday ground team. It'll be harder to dodge in mid-air, but who cares? But I'm just thinking, like, this might be one of the strongest teams in the game, and Lupa might be the glue to make this like an absolutely cracked team. Her second skill is kind of a throwaway skill, unfortunately. It's good for casual people and players like myself who really like overworld gameplay. So like, she has like a special dash. After dashing for 2.5 seconds, she enters like a sprint state, and then her basic attack, she gets like a stronger basic attack with some interrupt and resistance. This isn't going to see any real play in the actual like Whimpering Waste, Tower Adversity, hologram fights, any of the hard endgame content where you're actually like min-maxing and sweating. This isn't going to see any play, but for casual players, I think this is really cool personally. I like it, but it could have been something else. It could have just been part of a normal sprint kit. Didn't have to be an inherent skill, but I think her Applause of Victory skill here is already so strong that I'm just like, damn, 15% fusion res is going to be freaking massive if you have a full mono fusion team. But basically, the way, from my understanding, my limited layman understanding of how Lupa works, she builds up her forte like every character. She has 2 little stacks or 2 little different things she can do. Her liberation, she can press twice, I believe, something like that. And she presses liberation, she gains like more buffs for herself, and she can do more different attacks, and then she consumes stacks from her forte to do more stuff. I don't know. It's kind of complicated, but I think she's going to be really fun to play. I think it's very simple. There'll be people that can break this down a lot better than me, clearly. But I think it's just, she's going to be very strong. Her intro skill seems very strong as well, especially because, where is it? Is it in her forte? Or is it in something else? Here it is here. Resonant skill set the arena ablaze. Within 8 seconds after performing one of these 2 moves, Lupa will remain on the field after switching to another resonator and back up the active resonator when they perform a liberation dealing fusion. So essentially, she's got some limited field time where she performs a coordinated off-screen attacks. Now, we've seen this in many other gacha games and other games in general, but she's got potential. She stays on the field and she does some extra attacks when you swap out to her for the first, like, within 8 seconds or whatever it is, right? So, and then her intro skill seems pretty strong as well, and it gets replaced with a different intro skill as well through part of her kit. So that also seems like it's really strong. It's got a very high damage multiplier on that. I'm curious to see what that is at level 10. You can tell she's got crit rate stats as substats, so her weapon will be crit damage. That's a pretty safe assumption. I also expect her weapon to have buffs for the party, just because she seems to buff quite a bit. Yes, I did want to talk about her liberation, actually. She seems like she has a pretty goddamn stacked liberation. Not like most liberate. It's going to do a fair chunk of damage. It's going to transform her kit a little bit. But one of the things is it gives a buff. So you attack the target, perform an attack consumes all of your wolf faith, which I'm assuming is your forte. Using a basic attack or skill in time, cast blah 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 blah. Performing this skill strengthens all the resonators in the team within 35 seconds. So another super long full rotation circle buff. All resonators in the team gain the pack hunt effect. If the active resonator is hit or launched into the air, they immediately recover and are considered to have successfully dodged the attack when they are on the ground. Can be triggered up to 3 times. This reminds me of Shorekeeper's thing. Shorekeeper has a resistance style like counter buff thing where you can, when you get hit, if you like hit the button, you can come back. So that reminds me of that. So that's really interesting. I think that's because this team is going to be played when it's played really like optimally in a really sweaty rotation with like Chun-Li and Brant quick swapping all the time. So having some extra interruption resistance to help with all the ridiculousness that's going to be happening all over the screen sounds like a nice little mini quality of life. But she also gives an attack buff and a fusion damage buff when you're attacking Overlord or Calamity So basically bosses. When you're facing bosses, she gives more buffs. So if there are up to 3 fusion resonators in the team, it increases the fusion damage bonus against those enemies is increased by 10%. When the active resonator casts an intro skill, granting an additional 6% to the resonators up to 18%. Once her pack hunt reaches its cap, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so she essentially gives a fusion damage buff. I think it's up to 20%, 18% attack buff. She gives 20% fusion damage amplify and a 25% basic attack on her outro. She gives up to a 15% fusion res shred. This is not including the fusion set, which I gotta go double check. We'll go double check, and then not including anything her weapon will give as well. So if I'll just watch it, okay, let me just check the new fusion set that just came out. Where is it? This one here. Casting Liberation grants all resonators in the team 15% fusion damage, and the caster a 20% liberation. So that's clearly meant for Lupa. So she's granting another 15% fusion damage bonus. So she's going to be giving quite a lot of buffs for a fusion team. This screams to me like if you want to make fusion work, if you've got a Brant, you've got a Chun-Li, if you like using Encore, if you like using Chixia, I always forget how to pronounce her name. Any of the potential characters that got shown off in the future, if there any of them are fusion as well, Lupa might be the key that kind of glues it all together. I think Brant was the start of it. But now looking at how many buffs that she specifically gives, attack buffs, fusion damage buffs, and she gives resistance shreds, and that's again, not including the weapon, she's going to be very strong. I think she's going to be fairly strong as a character, fun to play, lots of buffs. I'm super excited. So I don't know. Again, this is not the best breakdown of the character and how she actually plays, but I'm just going to wait until she's actually playable to break it down. Like, you go wait until there's a trial. There's no point trying to break down, oh, you use your normal attack here, and then this heavy attack here, and then that here. I think I did that in my Chacona video, but she was a lot easier to do. This one seems a little bit more complicated, but I'm super looking forward to her. I'm going to be getting her because I want her for my Chun-Li. And yeah, and then maybe on one day I can use her in a triple fusion with Encore, we'll see, or any other fusion characters that come out in the future. But I love Lupa. I think she's fantastic. She was great throughout the story. And yeah, I'm super excited to hopefully get her. And yeah, as for weapons, she's a Broadblade. I have no Broadblades at all. Like, I have really crappy 4 stars at best. So I either get her weapon, or if I can maybe get the standard Broadblade, which isn't the greatest, so I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, let me know what you're thinking of Lupa and her kit. Do you think she's going to be the glue that makes the fusion, a mono fusion team, one of the best in the game? I think it will be for people that can play it optimally. I think a mono fusion team with Chun-Li, Brant, and Lupa as the limited options is going to be insanely cool to look at, to watch, to play. That's a little bit over my head. I'm a little bit too casual for that. There'll be people out there that make it look like the best and coolest thing ever with all the flames and fiery crap all over the screen, but that ain't me. I'm too simple for this. But anyway, I'll leave the video there. I've been rambling for a while. Let me know what your thoughts on Lupa are. Are you going to pull her based on her kit? Are you waiting to see some more animations and some like TC math from guide makers? Are you waiting to see what her weapon is? Are you waiting to see if there's any other future fusion characters that she might work with? Because maybe you don't have anyone now. Yeah, just let me know what you think about Lupa. I'm excited. So anyway, I'll leave the video there. So thank you so much for watching and or listening. Remember to follow me over on Twitter at TXB_gaming to keep up to date with everything in between videos. Join the Discord to chat to the community there. You can become a member of the channel for less than $3 a month. It really helps me out, like all the beautiful people on screen here now. And I think I'll leave it there. So thank you very much for watching, and as always, my name is Zeno, and you guys take care now. God, she's hot. Damn!